Here in Indianapolis, the WNBA All-Star Weekend took place. In Miami, they're calling it was Miami in Indianapolis, they say. Caitlin Clark's injury didn't simply pull her out of the All-Star Game. The whole weekend was torpedoed, fans incensed, empty seats and ticket prices plummeting in real time on social media. Today's All-Star ticket prices have been significantly reduced compared to yesterday and last night. Many people are catching them, and believe it to be a bit of an issue. Her hometown's historic celebration devolved into the worst nightmare. For the WNBA, how did this occur then? And when fans called for accountability, what did Kathy Engelberg ultimately say? Let's dissect it. Naturally, one of the stories we have been following for the past 2 days centers on Caitlin Clark, the WNBA great and Indiana Fever player, who is a superstar in her own right. She will still participate in this weekend's celebrations, even though she will miss all of the excitement on the court. The most famous All-Star Weekend in WNBA history was scheduled to take place in Indianapolis. The skyline was overshadowed by a mural of Caitlin Clark that stood 34 stories tall. Look, people, this is what everyone is talking about when they visit Indianapolis. Caitlin Clark, the banner on the JW Marriott's 34-story building, is right here. Credibly so. Does the JW Marriott have the biggest banner ever? You might consider the bracket. Do you recall the NCAA tournament from 2021? Yes, it's also larger than that. 113,000 square feet. It's unbelievable, I must say. And from my town's downtown, you can see what it says. Without a doubt, everyone's attention is being drawn to this. Additionally, who could be better than Caitlin Clark, the celebrity herself, to be on that? Local companies increased their stock. Restaurants increased their workforces, and ticket prices skyrocketed. The best seats sold for thousands of dollars, while the average resale price was $262. You know what happens when Caitlin Clark gets hurt? People won't pay to see these sportsmen who aren't appreciative of their sports growth. Thus, your demand disappears. For it, people aren't paying. And we are here, right here. Tickets for this All-Star Game have decreased by 50%. The demand and ticket prices plummeted. And without number 22 Caitlin Clark, more than just the on-court product suffers. Economic opportunities have been negatively impacted for the entire weekend. Her coronation was due to take place on July 8th, when the NBA posted on NBA Central, quoting, "Getting price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48%. Rather, it became a financial catastrophe." The moment the collapse started, it was revealed that Caitlin had a groin injury. When the news broke on social media on July 17th, ticket prices fell precipitously in a matter of hours. What used to sell for $262 is now only $64. Let's begin. The Indianapolis WNBA All-Star Game's admission price has decreased by 48%, following the announcement that Caitlin Clark will not be performing. The price dropped from $121 to just $64. I'm done. These people are saying people are selling their tickets because they don't want to see Caitlin Clark's game. I purchased tickets only to watch Caitlin Clark play in the All-Star Game, and I made travel arrangements only to travel to Indiana to watch her play. Now that she's hurt, I don't care about that anymore. They simply want to get away from them. Additionally, they are witnessing personally what Callan, particularly during the All-Star Game. Clark is valuable to this league. Buyers vanished. The sellers went into a panic. Those who had purchased tickets solely to watch Clark were attempting to sell them for very little money. Still, no one wanted to enter. The admission fee decreased from $121 to only $65. Tickets were already sold out. But even at that extremely low amount, people shouted, "No, Caitlin, no thanks." In regards to the location, they already sold all 17,000 or however many tickets they had. However, if Caitlin Clark were present, the number of customers who would visit the arena's stores and vendors would be far lower. The nearby eateries, local neighborhoods, and local points of interest. The number of customers that would visit their establishment if Caitlin Clark were in good health will be reduced. Every Fever game was sold out at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. This season's game, it now faced vacant chairs for the first time in 2 years. Massive losses, hotels, cancellations, unsold merchandise, and vendors. However, money wasn't the only factor here. This was a very clear statement. The WNBA wouldn't have any buzz without Caitlin Clark. When it was revealed that the sole celebrity would be missing the All-Star Game and that Caitlin Clark would be missing the celebrations, ticket prices instantly plummeted, and they had been, circling the drain ever since, fighting frantically not to be flushed. You can see anonymous players trying to make layups for less than $70 as of this morning. Nor was it the first time this had occurred. Prices plummeted once again in May, after she missed games during the regular season due to a quad issue. A game in Washington fell 47%. This time, it was the All-Star Game in her hometown. And the crash was unprecedented, even though the Chicago team was down 71%. In actuality, Clark's injury was expected. In practice, she didn't make any adjustments. Game after game, opponents who knew the referees wouldn't shield her wore her down. This is due to the refereeing's targeting of Kayla Clark and the fact that she essentially lacked a specific whistle. The majority of elite athletes receive that whistle, just like in any other sport. Unfortunately, the whistle has not been given to Caitlin Clark. Additionally, Stephanie White was essentially on file, stating that there is a backup whistle if you play against Caitlin Clark. As you've grown accustomed to coaching, how would you characterize Caitlin's physical struggles? Either during tonight's game or generally, or simply based on what you saw her going through. Are you attempting to find me once more? I am not. Indeed, there is a certain degree of physicality that they can use against her. As an opponent, I was aware of it, It's been on the receiving end of 20% of all flagrant fouls in the league this year. That amounts to one player receiving almost 25% of the most severe hits in the league. And her own coach, Stephanie White, who was completely silent while officiating, anticipated it. She cautioned that referees were doing little and that Clark was being played more violently than any other player in the league. Legends of the WNBA like Lisa Leslie even said it aloud. Groin injuries are persistent. He still feels the effects of the one she had in 2006. It is a wound that never completely recovers. It simply gets handled. Since I also suffered the injury in 2006. I truly feel sorry for Caitlin Clark to ensure that there was sufficient pressure to hold that groin. I was heavily taped around my thigh and glute. The difficult aspect is that the groin is a deep-seated place that you can't simply touch and say, "Oh, it hurts right here." Oh, you must receive extensive care, including rest, heat, and ice. Since Caitlin Clark is in the middle of her season, she is unable to find much relaxation at this time. However, I believe that injury is particularly difficult since it persists. You can feel fine regardless of the amount of medication you take. You return to the world. One step, one direction shift, and suddenly you're experiencing the same kind of pain again. It will therefore be a difficult injury for her to deal with. Sadly, the statistics support this claim. The Washington Post reports that during the previous 2.5 seasons, the WNBA has seen 57 head and neck injuries. The majority of them are small forwards and guards. Aaliyah Boston, Sophie Cunningham, and Clark are all similar. So it wasn't shocking when Clark ultimately fell. It was a slow-motion vehicle catastrophe everyone saw coming. Then there was silence. With the ticket market is in flames, sellers are losing money and fans are boycotting. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert was the center of attention. Would she accept the officiating had failed? As I think Kathy put, in place a mechanism that permits Caitlin Clark to be harmed. The referee will not call on Caitlin or punish you for harming her. It is now alleged that this information exists. This is merely my hypothesis. However, I'm telling you now that this is an incredible theory, because it seems to me that Kathy has a plan in place for Caitlin Clark to suffer harm. Last year, she stated it. For hits, they need the drama. Guys, what sells more than anything? Drama. However, they aren't considering how long this will last. Guess what happens when Caitlin Clark gets hurt? She loses her fan following and all the buzz. The league will fail, but she pledged to keep the largest star number in the league safe. Rather, she used the same business jargon that fans have become accustomed to. She made reference to team profitability, productive meetings, and common goals. But she said nothing about Clark or player protection. It was a deafening disconnect. As people pleaded for genuine answers, Engelbert spoke as if nothing had happened. In the meantime, everyone was watching the All-Star Game collapse. It wasn't only the vacant seats. The energy was the cause. Dull, flat, and lifeless. The actual game was embarrassing. Deep threes are being jacked up by players. No competition, no defense, just a glorified layup line. It was described as a mockery of the sport by one fan. It's the weekend's biggest buzz. The league, the stars, and the game. Mascot. During All-Star Weekend, the New York Liberty mascot was seen attempting to recruit Caitlin Clark, and the basketball itself received less attention than that particular moment. The New York Liberty, the mascot of the New York Liberty, was sent in. Caitlin Clark was targeted for recruitment by the New York Liberty's mascot. That has never happened to us before. I don't believe that we have never seen that as the first time we have ever seen it. We haven't seen that before, I believe. No mascot has ever been submitted to us. They are exerting a lot of force. They are exerting every effort. Oh, what? If we start sending our athletes around here, it's going to be a little obvious. Because the Liberty appeared to recognize Clark's worth in contrast to the league. It was a harsh reminder over this All-Star weekend. In Caitlin Clark's absence, the WNBA has no spotlight. No sales, no momentum, and no buzz. Here's the unpleasant reality. The league had everything. Millions of dollars in new revenue, a generational star, record viewership, and national attention. But rather than shielding her, they allowed the referees to overlook every shove, hit, and blatant foul until her body failed. As a result, the leadership was also scared to speak the truth. The fan base organized boycotts, and the All-Star Game turned into a joke. Now, the question is straightforward. Did the WNBA just miss its greatest chance in history? Or will they eventually figure out how to safeguard the players and supporters who are vital to the league's survival? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below whether you believe the WNBA can recover from this. And press the like button if you're sick of witnessing Caitlin Clark treated disrespectfully. We'll see you in the next one. Subscribe for more brutal realities. These people who are constantly promoting Angel Reese are superior to Caitlin. That's crazy. Clark, as you are all well aware, Caitlin Clark has missed 10 games due to an injury that has plagued her for the majority of the year. Come on, let's be honest. Angel Reese believed she would be crowned during All-Star Weekend, an iconic shoe drop. There are billboards everywhere. Now, a daring campaign that shouted, "I run this league." This is a phony, one-sided rivalry. Listen, Angel Reese continued to criticize Caitlin Clark. Needlessly. You in Indiana having a fantastic time partying. Every clip is visible. To us, how come you can't just do what you want to do? How come you can't just do what you want to do? Now, everyone would yell race if Caitlin Clark and her fans were showing up here raving about Angel Reese racism would be yelled by everyone. That we already know. Caitlin Clark is being used as a prop by Reebok and Angel Reese. However, everything fell apart, and Reese was humiliated in front of the entire country when Caitlin Clark was hurt and forced to miss the WNBA All-Star Game, folks. It appeared that Angel Reese had just been caught up in yet another major drama. We all know that Angel Reese has made headlines. Dude, after essentially cursing during a press conference at reporters. And I'm here to tell you that the drama surrounding Angel Reese is continuing today. This was broadcast on national television. I don't want to spread negativity, but Angel Reese is meant to be a role model for young ladies and a positive role model for girls and children worldwide, because the fans vanished as soon as Clark did. The hype and the money. What started out as a power move turned into a warning. This is the tally of how a single injury and an overconfident stunt revealed all the flaws in the fiercest rivalry in the WNBA. All right, let's be clear. Let's be completely clear about this. An excellent basketball player is Angel Reese at every opportunity. Angel Reese has profited from her attachment to Caitlin Clark, her podcast. All of the promotional clips for the first 3 episodes mentioned Caitlin Clark. It was bringing up the entire promo, and Caitlin Clark, everyone was curious to hear her words. She promoted Caitlin Clark. She uses this constantly now that she has Reebok. At every opportunity, she has devoted herself to Caitlin Clark, and she has profited. The city of Indianapolis was prepared for war. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese was the original plan for the All-Star Game, a rematch in the rivalry, on Clark's native land. It was hyped by ESPN. Sponsors backed it. Just to see history, fans made reservations months in advance. There were stocked restaurants. The hotels were completely booked. The entire city anticipated that the league's face would stimulate a surge in visitors. Since it is obvious that this is a one-sided beef and that it is not Caitlin Clark's, Caitlin Clark needs to take action to put an end to it. Additionally, I doused to spread the word about this. I don't even want to mention one side of the rivalry or one side of the feud, but I do want to make it obvious that this is more important than everything else. This is obviously a marketing ploy. I am in your city, Angel Reese. Get caught in your trap. Take control of your trap. Share it on Instagram. Clark, Caitlin. It altered days before tip-off due to a recurrent groin issue. Caitlin Clark was unable to participate in the All-Star Game or the three-point competition. Both the fans and the WNBA's primary draw had vanished. Caitlin Clark was seen holding her groin late on Tuesday night. Kane Clark was seen digging her head in the stanchion. After the game, Stephanie White told us that Caitlin had a feeling. After the New York Liberty yesterday, she disclosed that imaging suggested we would want to sit her down due to a groin injury. Caitlin Clark will regrettably miss the WNBA All-Star Game and the three-point competition. The cost of tickets dropped precipitously from $121 to just $64. That is a 48% decrease. The most costly All-Star Game in WNBA history has been confirmed by TickPick. I was having trouble filling seats now. Let's begin. The Indianapolis WNBA All-Star Game's admission price has decreased by 48%, following the announcement that Caitlin Clark will not be performing. The price dropped from $121 to just $64. People are saying things like, "I'm done, I don't want to." Watch Caitlin Clark isn't. I bought tickets just to see her in the All-Star Game. I made travel arrangements just to get to Indiana to watch her. She's injured. I don't care about that anymore. Ticket sales are taking place. I simply want to get away from them. $120. All right, do you want to pay $100? Oh no. All right. I suppose I must reduce it to $80. You don't want to spend $80 on it? All right. I suppose I'll reduce it to $70. You don't want to buy it to $7, so I suppose I will reduce it to $64. The truth was revealed by social media. One admirer commented, "I purchased tickets solely to see Caitlin Clark. I don't even want to go anymore," another person acknowledged. Not only did Clark's absence affect the game, but it also destroyed the local economy. This boycott is beginning to affect the WNBA, although I was supposed to be out of Indy. I chose to support those who chose to sell their tickets to this year's WNBA All-Star Game and engage in a sort of boycott. The All-Star Game, this is due to the refereeing's targeting of Kayla Clark and the fact that she essentially lacked a specific whistle. The majority of elite athletes receive that whistle, just like in any other sport. Unfortunately, the whistle has not been given to Caitlin Clark. Additionally, Stephanie White was on record essentially stating that there is an additional whistle whenever you play against Caitlin Clark. Hotels, restaurants, and local vendors all saw a decline in sales. Rather than taking a step back or making adjustments, Angel went full throttle just like others. With Reebok, billboards, Instagram stories, and the song Take Over Your Trap playing over video of her in Indianapolis. She started her I'm in Your City campaign. However, she has gained a lot. By tying herself to Caitlin Clark and utilizing her to expand her brand, she has generated millions of dollars. I'm not going to knock that. However, the truth is that you keep shooting at her. And when you get shot back, no one likes it. Videos of Caitlin Clark actually disparaging Angel Reese are not available to us. Take a look at what Reebok and Angel Reese are doing to increase views. Take control of your trap by walking into it. This is a promotion for Caitlin Clark's show in Indianapolis. It's an obvious shot. The shot is obvious. This is a phony rivalry, as I mentioned. I believe you've defeated Caitlin Clark in one game. In Indiana, you've never won at all. It seems as though you keep tying yourself to her at every opportunity. Users promo. Reese was acting as though she had already won, but Clark wasn't participating. The fans weren't impressed. This is the reality. This is a one-sided rivalry. Reese is the one who has been shot at by Clark. She has used Clark as the focal point of her media efforts, podcast promos, and even the introduction of her shoes. She claimed Indiana as her city, even though she had never defeated Clark there. It was deemed classless by fans. Why exert so much effort while your opponent is hurt? Even WNBA analysts acknowledged that Ree benefited massively from attaching her name to Clark at every turn. It wasn't confidence. It was branding built on someone else's spotlight. One commenter said, "This is like shadowboxing in an empty gym." Another added, "Ree is trying to win a fight Clark isn't even in. Demonstrated the WNBA's brittle momentum. Everything depends on one player, Caitlin Clark, including ticket costs and viewership. The entire system trembles when she is absent. In May, resale values in Chicago and Washington fell 71% and 47%, respectively, when Clark missed a regular season game. That isn't typical. It goes beyond star power. That's superstar economics. In the middle of this PR during warm-ups, WNBA players donned jerseys that read "Pay us what you owe us." Players decided to protest for more pay at that time since ticket costs were already skyrocketing and fans were already upset that Clark was not playing. Furthermore, the timing was terrible even though the message might have been right. Online, fans criticized the move. One wrote, "Read the room. You're asking for more money when the only reason people came isn't even playing." Another remarked, "The players are real worries." In the confusion, better travel pay and rosters were overlooked. Clark has even stated that WNBA players ought to receive higher compensation. But she wasn't the one wearing protest attire during the most expensive flop of the season. Reese was meant to take over at this point. Rather, it revealed the reality. No one gave a damn without Clark. Everything failed, including the Instagram posts, the billboards, and the stage trap music takeover. Ree wasn't trying to steal the show, okay? The crowd had already dispersed, leaving her standing by herself. It became evident this past weekend that Caitlin Clark is more than simply a rookie. The WNBA's future depends on her. The demand for tickets decreases by over 50% in her absence. The league sets records with her. The figures don't lie, no matter how hard Reese tries to build a brand around Clark's name. The focal point is Clark. The rest of the supporting cast. Drop Baby Giraffe in the comments if you believe that Angel Reed just sustained the biggest blow of All-Star Weekend. Comments to inform us. To ensure you don't miss a beat, ring the bell, like the video, and subscribe for more Caitlin Clark coverage. Due to the fact that when Clark arrives back, the league as a whole undergoes another upheaval.